I want to show you, the WebGIS developer framework for experienced GIS pros. So a three-step system to high-value projects, also jobs, okay, like high-paying jobs. So, and it's basically about, let's make this a bit bigger for you guys. So how I went from almost failing my first WebGIS application to charging, 7+ K per project. Okay, like this is usually the range that you have for, I don't know, for a 40-hour project. Okay, this is something normal. Like in a week, you can, this is a normal number that you can do in the US, that you can do in Central Europe, and it doesn't fucking matter where you're from. Okay, they just want to have a guy, a person who can create the solution for them. Okay, and it really doesn't matter where you're from this planet. Okay, they just want your help. Okay, this is the most important thing. So I didn't start, or I was not born as the WebGIS guy, of course. No one was. Sometimes that's cool, and when people think that or something like that, but no one is actually born like a WebGIS guy, GIS guy, whatever guy. Okay, it's usually putting in some work, finding the right structure to learn this stuff, and then starting using it. Actually, I see it's a little bit dark here. I will turn on the light. Okay, so that's better. Okay, so so again, no one is born as that WebGIS guy or something like that. Okay, I was a GIS person, just like you. I loved maps. Maybe, as you, looking as a child for hours on a map or something and studying what's going on these maps. Yeah, I loved like a GIS. Simply the digital part of that is, let's say, simply said, cool analysis, nice cartography, interesting projects. Okay, but something like in GIS felt a little bit off for me. It was very often the same workflow on repeat. Okay, you do something and you do it over and over again, and it's like, okay, at some point, this is maybe not so challenging anymore, and it's maybe getting a little bit bored, or you see like, hey, I have more potential than just doing that. I'm grown out of this now. So I kept myself asking like, hey, is this it? Just making maps forever? I love maps, but actually I think I want a bit more here. And then actually what happened is a friend of mine, he came to me that time as well, and he asked me, hey, can you actually build a WebGIS application for our company? And the first place I was like, what is WebGIS actually? And he said it like it's like JetJS applications in the browser basically. I was like, oh cool, yeah, sounds nice. So using HTML, CSS stuff, this kind of thing. He says like, yeah, exactly, and then maybe using JavaScript and so on, that you can make it interactive eventually. And I was like, yeah, cool, I want to do that. So I said yes, and so I thought, or I was studying, and I thought I could use the programming basics that I've learned in the university, okay? And I will just figure it out. Actually, that didn't work. So instead, I spent months frustrated. I was sitting in their company. They gave me a computer. They gave me a spot there, a place where I could sit and do this stuff. And I spent literally, no shit, month frustrated, like reading articles around WebGIS, around blogs, about documentations, watching hours of videos, copying, pasting sample code from here, from there, from books. I wrote it, and it was crazy. It simply nothing worked. Okay, I could not piece this stuff, like the application that they wanted, together. Okay. And I was actually at home. I did some little projects at home, like GIS projects, made some little applications and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that actually. So eventually, as I told you, I did all of this stuff here. Nothing worked. I could, get pieces to work. Of course, I could get sometimes a map inside, sometimes a little editor, but it didn't actually save anything in the end. And I don't know, just fragments. Okay, some printing here, but everything together, I had no idea what's happened. How can I really do that? And how can I grab specific data from the server? And how do I get this here and how do I create the chart? So it took me very long. Okay. Just understanding the architecture, the terms behind, like even when I was watching videos, I was like, I actually don't know what you guys are talking about there. But I understand the code that you explained me, but eventually it doesn't really click how I get this together on my own. Okay, so I could get pieces to work as I told you, but I couldn't get a real app to come together. Okay, and it really frustrated me, like knitting my brows together, like, what the fuck? Can't do it. Am I too stupid? These these tutorials seem so cool and clever and stuff, but am I just too stupid for getting this or what's going on? And yeah, for me, the whole thing wasn't just a side project. And it was really, yeah, I felt like if I can crack this or if I cannot crack this, I might be limiting my entire career because I found like, hey, programming is cool and I've heard it's makes sense, like creating a career around that, and I really liked it. Okay, it's not that I picked programming because yeah, programming brings in money or stuff like this. It was really like I enjoyed this stuff really. But then I thought, okay, if I can actually crack this, what's happening then in my life? Okay, so everything can turn around like crazy. And I had this turning point. So I had one turning point is, yeah, let's call it today, learning to fish. Okay, instead of, let's say, sample codes or just, yeah, getting a fish from someone else or a fisher, yeah, whatever. Like, I didn't want to just have a fish or something. I didn't want to have these examples anymore because I saw that it's just a waste of time. But what I really wanted to learn is to fish this stuff myself. Okay, like creating, programming, creating applications myself. So I didn't want to give up. Okay, I could see the potential in WebGIS and GIS development. So I doubled down on this. So the big shift was when I finally found and then refined, okay, a way of learning that actually works. And it was simply fundamentals first, not copying pasting stuff, not just starting with crazy frameworks or something around that, but really going element by element, step by step. Okay. And it might sound to you guys like, hey, are you crazy, Christian? I don't want to spend around or with this stuff years, and I'm not eventually sure if this actually works. But crazy stuff is I found a really cool framework at that time, and it was not anymore like learning random programming stuff. It was really going with me step by step, element by element through the programming elements that are just there in programming. And when you got them, or what it made with me eventually is that I could eventually read any code. I could eventually write any code that I wanted. Okay, not crazily fast that I can maybe do it today, but sometimes I still was creating a for loop like 2 hours, but I could do it eventually. And this is what counts in the beginning only. Of course, in the first time, maybe it's 2 hours, then it's next time it's 30 minutes, and then the next time it's 10 minutes. Okay, this is usually how it works. And going step by step, element by element. They're just 10, 15 programming elements in JavaScript, in Python, in C Sharp, in C++, in Java, whatever, okay? They have all the same elements. That's the cool thing, okay? Programming languages basically have the same elements, okay? When you learn one, you can learn quickly the other. It's just understanding the syntax, so the way of writing that code, and that's everything, okay? And I didn't want that random examples anymore. I really wanted to, yeah, get this together. Nowadays, like in the ages of AI, you might think like, why should I actually do that shit? Just think about a lawyer. Yeah, they ask ChatGPT like, hey, what should I do? And it will give them something, or any other agent that's maybe really well trained on laws and stuff like this. Um, Still, as the lawyer, you want to make sure you're doing the right thing for your clients, okay? And not just some random stuff. It's just sometimes some little tiny shit that happens and your application breaks. People are not happy with this. You don't know what's happening inside. So still these days, and it will not change in the next years, okay, that you must, it's cool to quickly understand these elements, okay? And it's usually like most of you have maybe gone through Udemy tutorials or something like this, which yeah, takes about 20 hours for some of them just 10 hours. I don't know how people can learn this quick. It doesn't seem realistic. This is nothing that I have experienced, but 20 hours of learning JavaScript is more than realistic. Okay, element by element, step by step. And then you have the core elements together, and then you just take this stuff, you take your ideas that you have in your mind and put them into these elements, and this is how you program everything. Okay, the problem you might think now, hey, but I went through Udemy tutorials. Why did it not click? Am I too stupid? No, it's not about you. It's about the structure and how they teach it. When I just look at some of these tutorials, some of the YouTube videos, even free, yeah, programming tutorials or courses or something like this, and I see that JavaScript is taught in like, I've really seen sometimes 1 hour or 4 hours or five. This is not a time that it works. Okay, this is a little bit not enough. It's a little bit, yeah, it's simply not enough. And this will not show you enough. Okay, but 20 hours really does. It's more than enough. From there, you have all the basics that you can then quickly like Google up your stuff if you didn't understand any or something, or some parts of it that you can quickly go and see like, okay, this is basically how I do it because you have understood all the other elements, and then you can quickly put your stuff together. And this is basically how it works. Okay, it's not like some people telling you, hey, you can watch any shit YouTube tutorial and create all of your stuff. This is actually not true. Okay. This is totally not true. So it's not about you, it's about simply the structure of these courses that they simply do not work. Okay. So, and I also didn't want that, hey, here's a snippet. I wanted to, here's how programming actually works. So you can write it, or you can write any code you want. Okay. I didn't want that snippets anymore because I saw, okay, it's cool what you guys, I don't know, Esri guys or anyone else who created that tutorials brought together, but that I can actually take the snippet and put it in my application. It's not like that. It fits just in your use case, in your application all of the time. Actually, it's maybe 10% of the time that it maybe fits exactly inside, but the other 90% you have to tweak a little parts. And when you go element by element, you can tweak that. You will be able to do that. Okay, so this helped me extremely for that and all of my students as well. So what I did is I relearned programming step by step, element by element. Okay, simply going through variables, data types, doing input, outputs. So actually variables, data types, same stuff, input, output. Okay, like how do I take user input, conditionals, loops, functions. So how do I basically control my program? Okay, like the logic inside and everything, the algorithms, simply the step-by-step sequence to come to a specific solution. Okay, this is an algorithm, nothing else. It's not crazy voodoo or magic or something like that. It's simply step-by-step. Okay, how you cooking your noodles. Okay, this is it. And then you have the functions to clean up your code. You want to understand what are objects, because in libraries, okay, you have that all of the time, like a map, layers, features, okay, and they have properties, they have functions, and when you understand this one, okay, and it doesn't have to be crazy, yeah, explanations around that. It's simply, hey, this is a map, these are the properties of a map, like this is the data, basically, these are the layers inside, that's it, and these are the functionalities, like here's add, and then put your layer into that one. And this is what you're doing all of the time, simply in a WebGIS application, okay? When you want to program that yourself. And this is also what the AI gives you, but you have to understand it, because often the AI hallucinates functionalities inside that are not really existing, okay? And then you want to figure this quickly out, not like searching for that like half an hour or 1 hour. You want to figure it quickly out, and this is simply when you go quickly into the documentation. And when you understood these parts here, okay, the sequence here that you see is also important, okay. I see a lot of tutorials starting even with objects. but a part of objects is variables, it's functions, and then this stuff simply doesn't make sense when they start with that here in the beginning. Okay. And so what you want simply is, yeah, understanding how to use them, okay, how to use these objects with its functionalities in a library, okay? And every library in this planet usually works like that, okay, that there are functions and that's it, okay? And you sometimes have to create an object and then you start using its functionalities, okay? Of course, also important is the basic architecture. Front end, browser side. Okay, in WebGIS, it's a browser side. Then the back end, it's on the server that you use like Django or Node.js, for example, and how to connect all this stuff to a database, getting the data out of it, send it to the front end, take it with your JavaScript, and show it on the map. Create a chart with that, with chart.js or something like that. Okay, it's that simple actually. So and with that, you want to actually understand, or you will understand finally, how the data actually flows in a WebGIS application when the data comes in, how you do that with JavaScript and everything like this. Okay, you just learn this here on this side, everything. And once that clicked, I built my first real WebGIS application with confidence and even with a lot of joy. Okay, and this is amazing. That was so cool building that application. Then another one. Okay, and then for now, yeah, several hundreds actually. When I just think about the 30-day map challenges and stuff like that. Okay, so that basically how I relearned everything. Okay, you don't have to create hundreds of WebGIS applications to get into a WebGIS development role. This is not what I mean here. It's simply one, maybe two applications. Okay, one hero application, something that solves a real world problem. Okay, not like, hey, I put a legend inside there, I put a table here, I put a chart there. No one cares about that. Okay, you want to create something that solves a real world problem. Okay, so this led to WebGIS roles for me. Okay, better projects and eventually my own company. Okay, and then I had another turning point. I was working like in a 9 to 5 and I wanted freedom. Okay. I didn't want anymore like a boss above me telling me what to do, income capped, and this kind of stuff. So this is where I hit another wall. Okay. On the paper, okay, things were fine. I had a good job. I love this. I love the people like who were my supervisors, who were my bosses. Totally. Okay, stable projects. They were good guys, business and stuff. But my income was kept. Okay, I wanted to travel the world, man, not just, yeah, spending money for my rent and a little bit of food and stuff like that and going into a cafe. I wanted to really travel the fucking world like whenever I wanted to. So when other people decided what I worked on and how I actually do it and how it looks for the client, even if I sometimes thought, yeah, maybe not the perfect thing, but it's okay, let's do it like this. Okay. They were most of them were really open and I really enjoyed this. But sometimes I know for a lot of people, it's not like this. Okay. There you have people where they decide, hey, you do it like this, or I will fuck you up. Okay. A very simple set. Okay, so I got 1 or 2 short vacations a year with my family. This is the one that I think sucked most of them. Okay, I wanted, yeah, that freedom. Okay, I wanted to decide when I travel, not someone else. Okay, so I made the jump into freelancing. And then, yeah, I wanted to help people my way. Okay, choose my projects with who I'm working even together, okay, for who I help, for who I'm creating cool services and products. I wanted to work from home, okay, to be with my family, to spend time with my kids, be with my family when I want to, okay, cafes, mountain area, mountain view, stuff like that, okay. It's not like just a shit, it's really something that you can get, and every one of you can, okay, not just some of you, everyone can. Then reality check. From here, from turning point one, I had the dev skills. Okay, I had the development skills, totally. but I had no business, no freelancing strategy or model. Okay, how do I do this? Let's take the model out here. Business or freelancing strategy. Okay, so I got some projects here, some projects there from people I know, maybe one connection further. Okay, I struggled to consistently find the right clients. I reached out to people with no idea what to say. I was on the phone like, or even DMing them like brutal shit. Um, Sorry for everyone who got these emails and messages. And yeah, I reached people out with no idea what to say actually. Okay, sometimes I was too fast offering, sometimes I was just chatting. When you want to have a real business, you want to come to the point and see how you can help them, but in a human way. Okay, like you don't want to just yeah quickly figure out if you're the right person, but if you're exactly the person that I can help with a specific problem, and yeah, that you really make a connection, a relationship here. Okay, so this is what I didn't know how to do that in the beginning. I was sometimes on telephone on calls, and I was like, I saw you're looking for someone here, and I can do this. Are you still looking? Yeah, actually, we want to do it like this. Okay, okay, yeah, no, not sure if I can do this in this way, but later on, I figure out what to do. Okay, and I will show this you here below. So I spent years in trial and error, okay, and it was really painful and yeah, just not really getting in the clients that I wanted to have um, and stuff like that. I'm working, yeah, do the stuff that I wanted to go with, okay. So the simple model that changed eventually everything is the breakthrough. Basically came when I finally figured out a simple model for turning WebGIS skills into income. Okay, so there are 3 steps. Master the fundamentals at first. Okay, so you can actually build full WebGIS applications end to end. So from a problem to a solution. Okay, and not just patching together tutorial stuff or sample codes or something like that. Okay, of course, doesn't mean that I'm not watching sometimes still tutorials or copy and pasting sample codes, but I know how to tweak them that they exactly fit to my stuff. And I can just watch them once and I can use that immediately. Okay. And not just because I have so many years of experience, like now it's more than 20 years. It's because it already started when I had these fundamentals. Okay. I watched that once and I could use that in my projects. Right. And this is what it can do too. Then you want to build one hero application. So what is that? It's simply a real application that solves a real business problem. Okay, not a toy demo that someone will look at and think like, oh, looks nice, but what is it actually doing? And then this becomes your flagship proof. Okay, this is not actually a proof for someone else, for potential hiring managers or potential clients, but it's a proof to yourself as well that you're able to do this stuff, that you're the guy, okay, the person who can actually create real application and create, yeah, or solve a real problem for someone. And sometimes it's as simple as taking the manual workflow of someone and creating a WebGIS application around that. Okay, or I had like my last energy WebGIS application that I did is people were using Python and a specific library like for energy, like pipes was called, and then they were yeah programming their networks, and then they use Python in order that it can be solved like that they can see like how good it works. Okay, like how good this network works, really. Okay, or simulated at least. Okay, so how good it works in the real world, and they had to program everything inside, and they had people that could not program, and it took them years to come up with a network to check if it's really working. If they wanted to edit something, they had to do everything programmatically. So simply what I did for them is I took this workflow and created an application around that. Okay, everything that they usually programmed I was creating an application that they could now, yeah, simply as you know it, they can do it with an editor, like add points or add network parts, delete them, rename them, move them to somewhere else, and then check immediately just with one button click instead of programming stuff inside that how good does it work? Okay. And that's basically it. And what this will do with you, a hero application, is that you will see for yourself that, hey, I can actually do this. Okay. I've learned, I mastered the fundamentals, and now I see that I can really create a real application. Okay. And it's really step by step, element by element. The explanations don't have to be crazy hard or something. It's actually vice versa, totally. Okay, it must be totally easy explained. The exercises, easy exercises, then a little bit harder so that you can see, oh, can do the easy one, and now I can even do the bit harder one. So I'm sure I can do all this other stuff actually as well. Okay, and then you start building from there your hero application. And usually in our program that I can show you later on, we help people like finding a real problem, okay, creating something real around that. And this will prove to yourself that you can do it. Okay, will make you confident eventually. And when you show up in front of hiring managers and other people, they will feel that energy. Okay. It's not just around, hey, I have certification here, but you have something real to show. Okay. And this changes everything. And eventually you want starting sell this outcome. Okay. And not the technology. I see a lot of people, hey, I'm doing Leaflet, I'm doing Django, okay, or I'm doing DuckDB, PostGIS, I don't know, whatever, GeoServer. That's cool. Some companies, they care about that, but this is the least thing that they want to see. If they see that you have actually created a real application doing this, and you explain it to them, they know that you actually don't care if it's Leaflet, if it's MapLibre, if it's ArcGIS JavaScript SDK or something like this, SDK for JavaScript, or anything else. Because internally, these libraries, they work the same, okay? And you have your objects, you have your functionalities, and you're just using them. And you don't need to learn millions of examples, even though it seems like it has to be like this, or what people show you in many courses, many tutorials and stuff like this. It's actually that you must understand how they work, how you use them simply. Okay, and simply I create an object, I use its functionalities to add a layer to the map. Then I take that layer, I do a query on the layer, I get a result from that, I put it on the map, I put it whatever comes back on the chart or something like this. Okay, and this is what you do all of the time. Okay, and instead of selling the tech, you actually want to start selling that I help who, okay, the type of company do, okay, a specific valuable outcome with this application, with this system. Okay, for example, it was for me, I help energy companies saving a lot of time with an application that takes all their programming work and brings this into an easy to use application, okay, and make even everything less error prone or less error prone, and that they can do it much safer, everything, okay, and way faster, and can even share this with their clients like within a few minutes, okay. This eventually led to multiple 6K to 7K euro. It's basically around US dollars as well. WebGIS projects, okay. Some, actually most of them, done in about a week, okay. Or sometimes I was also charging like 150 hour, $50, 50 euros this year, so around dollars per hour when it made sense. Sometimes you cannot put this stuff into a project because sometimes you really don't know what's the time frame, what has to be done exactly. Then charging hourly can make sense, but I would always put this into the value, into a project that comes out for a company, and you can literally ask them, hey, what is the stuff that you're doing around that? And then you can do a calculation how much money they are actually using and how your application will help them getting that money back, okay, or not losing actually that money, okay. This worked also leading, or this also led to working from home, cafes, mountain towns, and stuff like that. So building my own education business, teaching this exact roadmap to people like you, and helping GIS professionals around the world become confident WebGIS developers and land paid projects. Okay. Now, if you want to see how this could work for you, you can book a free WebGIS roadmap call with me, and I will help you, out with your personalized three-step path, okay, from tutorials, if you're doing this still, or maybe you're even further than tutorials, to a paid WebGIS or to paid WebGIS project.